Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from everyday guy, redonkulous guy here, and welcome to my Outlast 2 explanation video where my buddy will be explaining you the lore or the story of this game and will try his best to solve all your questions regarding this game. So, over to you, buddy. Oh my god, why can't you get yourself a rotating chair, RG? Oh, hey, just a sec. Hey, it's a guy that you need the help of today for this video. Sherlock Booms over here. Yeah, I know. My mom was inspired from Sherlock Holmes, so she was pretty much like, hey, let's name him Sherlock Holmes. Boom. You got it? No? Okay. Well, let's move on to the main course of this video. That is me explaining what the lore of this game called Outlast 2 is. Alright, so let's start off this explanation video by giving you guys a little basic layout of this story, which will pretty much help you out or little help me out to explain this very well, which excludes all the recordings and documents in this game, aka not questioning your whats and whos and hows and wheres and wow, etc. Yeah. So let's start this video off now, shall we? Okay, so we start off as Blake, who comes here with her wife Lynn for the investigation of pregnant woman, but they crash, then gets kidnapped, and we set out in search of Lynn in this hellhole where we come across crazy messed up stuff, crazy people, almighty far, dream world areas, which happens all throughout the game. Along the way, we manage to find and reunite with Lynn for like 2 minutes, because she gets captured again by the other faction known as Heretics, ruled by Val, who is a female who looks much like a male, and I'm betting it. Everybody messed up with their gender in the beginning, yeah. Then we decide to find Lynn again by going here and there, Dreamworld transition. Then we come across this guy known as Ethan, who is the father of the one who we came here for, who helps us and dies. But through Marta, we get to know that we gotta have to go to this place called Chapel. So we, escaping the villagers and Marta, Ruthless Biz, get to the chapel where we get to know that Val has her in the mines. So we head out towards the mines through the train tracks, but due to mosquitoes, we fall off and end up in a valley. Immense luck. With camps full of sick people with syphilis under the supervision of Laird and Nick. They capture us, Blake escapes, they capture us, Blake escapes, they capture us, they this time die, cause third time's the charm. Then we get to the lake where we find some radio towers in the distance, but which we have no clue about what they can be or what they are doing in a place like this. Then we decide to raft our way towards those towers, or more of mine, because they are in the same direction. Some crazy stuff happens, and yeah, then through the 7 minutes of rafting, our raft gets destroyed by the Heretics. The Heretics are on our ass. Dream world transition, real world transition, boom! We got to the mines now, where we get to know that cults here killing Heretics. Gotta run. So we run from the Heretics deep down into the mines where Val has kept Lynn, where we get captured by Val. Blake escapes. Again, Val captures us, but more of we got to Val rather than Val capturing us. But yeah, Dreamworld for the rescue, where we get to know quite clearly about the Jessica incident, the nightmares that we have in all these Dreamworld scenarios. We'll talk about later on that part. Then somehow all the Heretics end up dead by the cult, and in this chaos we escape and reunite with Lynn, who is seen as pregnant because of a belly, and set out for a place for the birth. Marta shows up, Marta shows off, Marta dies, cause show off. Then we decide to go for the chapel. There Lynn gives birth, but she dies. Papa gets there, says can't kill baby cause he Goku, and kills himself. Then we get out all to see that all the villagers have actually sacrificed themselves. And then we get over this place and see the sun explode. We get to the dream world, get to the storeroom praying. Boom! The end. That's the story without the spice of documents and records and knowing what the actual shizzle-mabizzle is going on. Yeah, let's add some spice to this story, alright? Let's start by revealing some shocking truths about this game, which pretty much will help me out to explain what I'm explaining and would make sense as and how we will or my explanation progresses. So yeah, the first truth about this game is that everyone except aka the father of the one we came here for, aka the pregnant one, yeah, and Lynn are under influence. Now, I'm not talking about social influence like what politicians do. No, that's not the influence I'm talking about. I'm talking about scientific mind influence. Yeah, and now the second shocking truth is that in the end, you see Lynn giving birth to a baby, and you see that baby. Well, there is no baby in the end. Yeah, nor there is the sun explosion in the end that we saw. Yeah, all that I will explain when I add some spice to this basic layout story that I just said right now. So let's do that by going into the game. Alright. So let's start the story by starting from way back, even before we came. There was this religious cult and it's nonsense, but it was not this crazy cause it got crazy when they came. The organization. Now, who is this organization? Well, I have a name for it, but I won't say it right now. But as for now, you remember that lake scene where we see the radio towers or microwave relay tower, aka this scene over here?
Tower.
Yeah, this scene.
Radio tower or microwave relay. Civilization, maybe. For a second I was dumb enough to think I might not die.
Yeah, I'm talking about this scene. Well, they are in fact responsible for everything in this game. Now, where is the proof for that? Like, how can you say that they are responsible for all this? Well, here is the proof. Let me show you. Here is the proof, this document, where if you want to read any document that I show you, you can pause it. I'm just gonna give a brief about what this document means. So yeah, so this guy in this document, John, upon checking some traps on the mountain beyond the mines, yes, it's important, finds these tall towers which are camouflaged more of to avoid the bird's eye view rather than ground level, because yeah, he easily finds the towers though, or more of spots it. So yes, upon looking on it, he tries to get near it, but upon this sentence over here, we get to know that clearly something crazy happened with him. Starting from here, I attempted to hike to the base of the towers thinking I could find out what they were for at least or who built them, but I don't expect I got much more than a mile in their direction before I was overcome with waking dreams as of a power I had never even before experienced. I saw things I cannot describe. There were flames, insects, what may have been mouths and may have been sex organs. I must have walked from inside my dream state, because I found myself on waking a great distance away and have not been able to trace my steps back to those humming towers. Sounds familiar? Does this ring a bell somewhere? Yeah. Alright, so moving on to the next biggest proof, which really proves it that this is the thing going on over here, is this document where in this one the guy is a researcher testing out the effects and strength of signal on subjects which are none other than the cult, as RJ said in the episode 8, kinda like maybe this place is under observation, like, you know, hills have eyes, remember? Yeah, this microwave signals, what I believe does is that it amplifies your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, which also says over here that when he hikes a mile closer to the side, he notices that the signal strength, even though the far you go, the signal gets weaker and weaker, the signal got more stronger. And why was that? It could be an effect of the microwave parallax, which let's ignore that, but More of this is the important part where it says that the perceived self-inflicted discomfort and mass capitulation enabling the driven believers into becomes projectors. Now what does this exactly? It pretty much means that whatever they are given to believe by Papa Not and whatever crazy stuff they do for him, it becomes very real. They can practically see that stuff, and whatever thoughts they have, it becomes like real. Does this also ring a bell as to they can practically see things happening? Also, there is a mention of Miss Roland, which is by the way a reference to Outlast 1. I won't say it is Murkoff behind it, cause who knows, maybe she's just working for someone else over here. But yeah, maybe more of the possibility of Murkoff in here is pretty damn high. Let's see about that though. DLC. Now, did people here try to inform Papa Not about this? Well, yes, they tried, but nothing ever happened about it. So everyone in the cult were getting affected by the microwaves, and the craziness of the microwaves started with Papa Not getting the visions which he believed were from God, cause microwaves, yeah, that someday an Antichrist child will be born and its very birth will bring the end of the world. So Papa said this to everyone, and then Papa and the male villagers started fucking woman in the hopes of Antichrist child, and that's why you see the pit where there are numerous child bodies. Villagers believe because what they believe comes as visions in their mind. Now proof for that is over here. Yeah, whatever she has mentioned in this one, it's visually real for her. It's actually going on. And this one which mentions about the fact that what I just said, an Antichrist child might be coming, ready the knife, we gotta have to kill this child from hell, yeah. Another example of people seeing visions, getting crazy visions of her suffering, and because of this crazy suffering and the fact that she might have the Antichrist child in her womb, she commits suicide. And this document. Till we came with Lynn, who was not pregnant, but they believed that she was pregnant. I don't know what shizzle mabizzle they did before she escapes them, but they confirmed it that there was like a child in her belly. And a little before we came across Lynn, and almighty fart comes up, which in fact are the effects of microwaves slowly getting on us though. And how is this almighty fart affecting Blake? We'll see about that now. For now, back over here where Lynn gets captured again by Val, who is dressed and is addressed by others as male. Proof is right here. It is pretty much because Val is a female, that's why. Now, why did Val form his own faction? Now, Val formed his faction opposite from Papa not because the story was like, hey, we need another faction. No, it's pretty much because of these microwaves, because Val was a member of the, or more of the very trustworthy member of the cult before all this craziness happened. But Val had some opposite thoughts which got amplified, gave her the courage to pull this shizzle mabizzle off, where she formed her own faction. The proof is right here. Where she did not want to do this cause she loved her men, the people that were under his wing though, because yeah, she was like the left hand, right hand kind of a person of Papa Not. Yeah. Now these microwaves have very slow and steady effect on the people though, as far they are from the place. But surely it gets you eventually, as we saw in this one that Val and her comrades start getting visions now, slowly going insane and forming like a new lord in her mind, and finally going crazy to betray Papa Not now. She does so over here and here. So as we move on, we start to go insane too, but slowly and steadily, because our once lingering nightmare starts to take a real world form where we are going through places while we are in the real world, like doing things in the dream world while we are in the real world. Yeah. For now, I won't talk about what happened with Jessica and us in the past. We will move on to that later on. After the dream world craziness, we come across Ethan, the father of the one who we came here for. He is in fact a good guy and is not going crazy due to microwave. Now, why is that? Why did I say that everyone except? First, let's talk about as to why he is not so much affected by all of this. Cause he neither seeks revenge from Papa North, or he had been on the heretic side, nor he supports the cult for what they did, aka he is neutral in all of this though. Thus there is no crazy emotions that he holds which may get amplified and make him go crazy and be on like one of the sides though. So after Marta kills him, we go to the chapel. Many chase scenes later, we get to the chapel, we get to know yada yada yada, we know what happens next. So let's skip all the way to where we fall into the skull camps, which is a place for spiritual healing of syphilis and gonorrhea, which is considered as a blessing though. Sick, right? Proof over here. You run, you get killed, because yeah, it is under the supervision of Laird and Nick, aka the Munchkin and his Hulk, the proof of which is over here, where they give everything to them until they die of sickness. An interesting thing in all of this is that why Papa North never contracted this disease, because he used penicillin, the proof of which is over here. You can Google it and you will see what penicillin is most commonly used for. Lol, thanks to this guy who questioned why I get syphilis and if Papa North does, he gets protected. Well, there you have it, Athalia. There's your answer. Skipping to the lake where we get the microwave notes and also a document where Papa gives one more chance to, well, for reversing what he did, but yeah, no use. Then we start drafting towards the mine where towers are nearby too, but suddenly weird stuff happens when almighty fart comes though. Now those birds and fishes dying may or may not be true, because this document says that microwaves can have an effect on the birds and it can kill them. But then there was this one scene at the lake, let me show you.
The lake smelled like chemicals and dead things.
Yeah, because if it has chemicals and everything, how can the fishes survive in such a place though? Which even he mentions over here.
I wasn't surprised they were dead. I was impressed they'd ever even lived in all that poison.
But then again, this is him delusioning it, or really, I have no clue. Skipping to the mine's undergrounds now about heretics, is that why they are much crazier and wilder than the cult. Now the answer for this is that it is because their base is so close to the towers where they have gone super crazy and they are, or more of they have become like mindless creatures who just follow Well, although not sure again why Well is not super crazy like that, but maybe it's just that he has the strong feelings and emotions which just makes him a leader figure though, which he already was in the cult. The proof of their base having immense effect on them is over here. Let's skip over to the reunion with Lynn. Now, why I said Lynn is not affected by signal is that she spent most of the time in the mine's 800 feet. In the beginning, she was barely out though, and the microwaves do not act quick, as said before, which solves the first fact or the truth that I said, that Lynn and are not affected by these microwave signals, and it is pretty much just everyone else, including Blake too, that got affected by this microwave craziness though. And which brings the second question as to why there is a baby in the end, even though I said there is no baby in the end. Three things. Well, let's first start with what happened in the past with Jessica though, because of which Blake kinda has this guilt for like something though. Now, in the past, Father Loutermilch, yeah, aka the black dress dude, and also aka the Licky Tongue monster. The fact that microwaves over a period of time, as I said, make him crazy, which depicts Father Loutermilch as some kind of a crazy, licky tongue, fucked up monster, though, yeah, who molests Jessica, and then one day Jessica decides to just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and she tries to escape for it. But as we saw in that one dream scenario where they are going after the father, and then we saw on the stairs that she has her neck broken and everything, that's not exactly what happened over there. Father Loutermilch did not want to kill Jessica, but somehow he might have just pushed her, and she ended up falling off the stairs with a broken neck. So to cover things up, father decided to make it look like a hanged scenario where she committed suicide though. So yeah, that's where Blake comes in. Now if you remember the very first scene where Jessica's like, where are you? I'm scared, he's coming. And yeah, she screams, and basically I guess that's where Blake hears her and comes running for her. But by that time, father already murders Jessica, and I think I assume that's what happened, is that father forced Blake to just help him out in this scenario, because yeah, he pretty much had said him like, if you do not help me, I will kill you too. So he pretty much helped him out, changing this murder into a suicide. And somewhere I think he tried to forget this very incident by just considering this incident as it was a suicide and not a murder. And that's why at the very first aka when this nightmares first start, he kinda assumes it to be like a suicide, or more of, as in how the dream scenarios will progress, he kinda gets to know that it was more of a murder and not suicide, and even his documentaries will tell so. Which brings to the second point, is that in our journey, throughout this journey, the recordings that we have taken get weirder and weirder as the game progresses, which proves that our guy Blake is going insane slowly and steadily, where he's confusing the real world with the delusional world, bringing the topic of Jessica at points where he feel like he can connect to it though. Let me show you those recordings now. Okay, so this is the first recording where Blake starts to get a little crazy, because he now talks about his dark past, aka the Jessica incident, instead of what is going on in this documentary, or what he was supposed to say in this documentary. So let's have a look on this one now.
He said she did it to herself. He said he was protecting you.
Okay, definitely he's not talking about what is going on over here, but more of what happened in the past, as to the father is telling him that she, aka Jessica, did it herself, aka how she died, or the fault of her dying was her fault only, not his fault, even though it clearly is. And him protecting Blake is pretty much, can be taken in two ways. The first possibility is that he would kill you, but since you did so, he is now protecting you for what this crime he has committed, along with him, for setting this up as a suicide, and also to prove that it was Father Loutermilch who basically molested Jessica, killed her, and then set it up as like a suicide stuff. Is if you remember this gargled recordings where I was just like, oh okay, I don't understand what the hell is going on, why does he record it? Because in all of these gargled videos, if you reverse the audio, there the one who is speaking in this video is none other than Father Loutermilch, who is describing his sick thoughts about like how he has something for Jessica, how he wants to do stuff, forgive me for my sin, and how like God, aka him having a talk with the God directly, telling him that why did you took Jessica's life, and then he's pretty much like thank you for doing so because yeah, I am safe now. Like seriously, it's crazy and sick in that one. So if you wanna look on that part, I'm gonna post it down in the description, and thanks to this guy, because of which I got to know that if you reverse the audio you can hear this stuff. Yeah, link of his channel is in the description. So now let's move on to the next one, where we can see him go a little more crazy and talk about his life or his past.
I guess this is where the magic happens. Chairs for an audience to watch. I only saw her afterwards. I couldn't have...
Yeah, this pretty much was him talking about he saw her, aka Jessica, afterwards, aka after she died by falling off the stairs. Yeah, that's what he's talking over here. See, the fact that how he first talked about whatever is going on over here, then he connected that same thing with the past, with what happened in the past with Jessica though.
Going to heaven. God, before they killed the children, you should have loved me. What am I doing?
Now over here, the crazy part is that last sentence. It's crazy, that fact that did he kind of took out his little anger on the fact that in the past, where he was like, why didn't you love me, Jessica? I guess this is what you got for now. Like, that's the sick part over here. I'm not sure about this one though still, because yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, tell me if I'm wrong or right on this one, because this is the only one where I feel a little bit not confident about am I right or not, because it's crazy though. Or maybe again it's crazy though, the fact that you should have loved me. He's saying it to Loutermiss that you should have loved me, and then he's like, what am I doing? That's just not possible. Like, yeah, because that part is again little like, you know, understandable on his part, on Blake's part, as to why he would say please love me instead of Jessica though. Spare her. Okay, the next one is this, and this one is quite important.
She hanged herself before I could stop her. Or she didn't. No. Wait, not her. He... Fuck.
Yeah, this is pretty much him again talking about his past, where it's like, hey, it was Father Loutermiss who did all this stuff. And the fact that first recording that I showed you, where he says that father told him that she did it herself and he is protecting him. At that first recording part, he is quite confused as to what exactly events took place like though, because it's like, oh no, it was a suicide that happened, but in his mind he knows that it was murder, and it's just like he's slowly getting towards there, slowly, aka unraveling his truth.
Killed as a warning. Or a welcome. We're all welcomed eventually.
Seems like a normal line, but it pretty much means that he is at the same fault now for, like, you know, covering up the murder and making it look like suicide. So this pretty much is like, you are now welcomed in being as guilty as me. Yep. Okay, next one.
Raining blood. Dripping off her shoes, I think. No. Just... I tried not to step in the blood because I didn't want to leave tracks.
Yep, this is him talking about how he does not want to leave any tracks so as to cover the murder up for suicide though. Yeah, and from this point on, if you remember in the game, the dream world gets super crazy. Like this licky tongue monster now gets after us, where even in the dream world we get this scenario of how Jessica is dead on the stairs and then the licky tongue monster is after us. Yeah, this is that very point that he's kind of talking about. Like he does not want to step into the blood, and then that very blood is dripping off as she is getting hanged, and yeah, that, and then the rest is what he said over here. And from this point on, I think every recording, let's see, he talks about Jessica, and even in the real world when we are playing, he confuses Len for Jessica, which is crazy.
I can still say Jess. Her name is Lynn. Trapped. I was never gonna get out. But now I knew it. At least I'd be there with her.
Yep, him talking about how he's forever trapped for this sin he committed. Okay, next up.
Decorated with the dead. I checked faces looking for Lynn. Looking for my own. For Jessica.
Looking for my own is where his crazy part starts up though. Because looking for Lynn pretty much like, is she alive or is she not, because of what this crazy ass place is. But looking for my own, that's the part where it's like he's so guilty that he just wanna die. And he's just looking for his own face for Jessica. The fact that she would, like, he thinks in his mind that she would want us dead right after what we did. Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, next up. Now this one is quite crazy.
Loving and hating God is the same thing. Like making and killing children is the same thing. She told me to meet her in the music room.
And this quite gives the clue as to she told her to meet in the music room. But before that, this murder incident happens though, so yeah. Okay, now this is the recording where he goes really crazy. Like you can see him talk crazy right now. Is the fact that he already confused Lynn for Jessica, and now he has totally mixed Lynn for Jessica. See over here.
We're out. I got Jessica out. It was cold, but the snow had just started. We'll find a grown-up and we'll tell them what happened. We'll be okay. It's not my fault.
AKA basically he confused Lynn for, not confused, more of he now thinks Lynn as equivalent of Jessica, and somewhere in his head he's like, I got Jessica out. And in the dream world you see it's snowing outside, right? So that's why he said it's cold, it's snowing outside. I have now rescued Jessica from that guy. So yeah, now we will get to an adult, and now we will complain and we will get Father Lautermilch in. But that's exactly what is not going on over here. It's all in his head right now going on. Slowly and steadily going super crazy.
The priest dies. You didn't have to do anything. You were a child. Nobody could expect anything of you. None of this is my fault.
Okay, next up.
The priest dies. You didn't have to do anything. You were a child. Nobody could expect anything of you. None of this is my fault.
Over here, the priest pretty much means Father Lautermilch, who he's considering him as dead, because yeah, he saved Jessica and all that, and he's pretty much like, then again going back to what the real past was, where he's like, I was just a child, how can you expect me to like fight against a big guy like Father Lautermilch? So yeah, none of this was my fault. And finally, this one.
She's gonna be okay. You have her. She'll get to grow up. She'll do everything she was born to do.
The third and the last thing which will prove that there is no baby nor sun explosion in the end is, as you know by my second point that I said right now, that whatever Blake is going through, some crazy stuff, microwaves are having a good effect on him. Yeah, and as I said before, these microwaves amplify your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. And guess what? Blake believed in what Papa Not said. Not only him, everyone in the game was like, there's a baby coming, there's a baby coming. Even Lynn was like, there is a baby coming. And guess what happened? He visually saw this because he believed so much into it that microwave signals affected his brain so hard, and he visually saw the baby. Now to prove this very point, let's go back to the point where I said, like, you know, Lynn is not affected by microwave signals. And just watch this scene carefully where what Lynn says, and you will know what I mean.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, Lynn would not say that there is nothing over there if she was affected by the microwaves, because even Lynn heard all this stuff, like from Papa North, baby is there, from heretics, from everyone in the game, just like Blake, but she said that there is nothing there. Yeah, shocking, right? And then we get to this point where the sun explodes. Again, that is not what exactly happens. Do you remember this very line Papa Not says, that the birth of this very child, this very antichrist child, will bring the end of the world? Guess what happens in the end? The end of the world. The sun explodes, the sun explodes and the world ends. Boom, game over. Yeah, I guess now you understood the craziness of this game, the crazy plot of this game. And also in the very end, in the storeroom, when Jessica comes out, there are like two different outcomes over there, where one where she has rope marks around her throat, which I got in this ending, and the second one is where you do not have those rope marks. You can get the second one if you have all the documents and recordings, which I did so for this video. Now what I believe that means is pretty much that he now completely knows the truth. He does not consider what happened with Jessica as a suicide, which he did so to just, you know, forget this dreadful memory of him. Just like, no, I believe that this is what exactly happened and let's just move on with our life. But no, what exactly happened is that it was a murder and not a suicide. And that's why I guess that's what the difference is between there. And as for Mada, she's pretty much a loyal servant. That's pretty much all about I can say when it comes to her. Even by her notes I can say that's pretty much about it. So yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed my Outlast 2 explanation video. Hopefully I answered all your questions regarding this game. And if not, you can comment down below your contradiction or any questions or anything that I missed out on down below. And I'm pretty sure my buddy RG will answer all of those questions or anything that you will ask. So it's time for me to leave, and he might not be coming, so I guess if he was here, he would have said, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please click that like button, subscribe for more awesome content, comment down below your thoughts, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. Shabake.